If US moves forward with a Bitcoin reserve, other countries will too. Whether they do or not, other countries will. Mm-hmm. And it's going to kick off a cycle where some people are selling right now and everybody's going to be buying. If people are holding in self-custody, where does the Bitcoin come from? And there's a whole bunch of Bitcoiners that aren't going to sell at any price. If you're trying to, just imagine you're a financial institution and you've always been able to short long and short a system and get bailed out. What about when you try to short something you can't buy it back in at a price? Like, what does this do to some of the institutions that might naked short that?
Jeff Booth, entrepreneur and author, warns that with more institutions buying Bitcoin and its limited supply, its price could soar unexpectedly. Unlike traditional assets, Bitcoin's fixed supply makes it immune to manipulation. And as it becomes a key reserve asset, demand will outstrip availability. Booth cautions that betting against Bitcoin could lead to financial disaster. Make sure to watch until the end for his insights on Bitcoin's future impact. If you enjoy finance content, consider subscribing or liking the video.
We've lived in an extractive monetary system forever. There has never been a system like Bitcoin before. So all of our ideas are coming from that system, and so it would be normal from that system to measure number go up, but just and think through this at a first principles level. If you are saying number go up, you are actually part of the centralizing system. The natural state of the free market is deflation. We've always a credit-based system cannot allow deflation. Fair?
Yeah. That's
okay.
Fair.
So both those statements are true. So the credit-based system is based on a piece of paper that everybody's measuring the world and thinking the piece of paper is solvent, right? And that money is lent into existence. So even if you just paid back all the debt, there'd be no money left, right?
Yeah.
So it makes your head kind of scratch, right? So that system requires inflation. Requiring inflation is requiring theft in money. Requiring inflation is a centralizing function. So if you're pricing from the system that is requiring inflation, and this natural state of the free market is deflation, then you're part of the centralization of Bitcoin. And I'm not expecting everybody to know this today, tomorrow, anything else, but in time. That's why I just keep saying, if Bitcoin stays decentralized and secure, it actually doesn't matter if you want to price in the piece of paper or not. It doesn't. And a lot of people will trade their Bitcoin for the piece of paper so they can buy it, and they'll get rich in that process, and they'll think they're getting rich, and they'll trade to the piece of paper. But over time, as that centralizes more and more and more, a lot of people won't run nodes. A lot of those people will trust the centralized entities with their Bitcoin because they got rich in it, and it'll centralize further. And if that continues to happen, because these two systems are opposites, they cannot coexist, right, without centralization. Yeah. So if they can't coexist without centralization, and you're part of the system centralizing, then at some point, those people will probably trust other actors to hold their Bitcoin, centralized, and they'll get wiped out by the system that is decentralized and secure, bounded by energy. That is a likely outcome down the road sometime from a mindset of people pricing in a fiat instrument, just like they did to gold. Exactly the same thing, because what would happen? Gold would centralize, and then you would attack gold. So you could argue that these different worlds, right? So it could never scale without fiat, right? If that's what your argument. And fiat needs to be an inflationary system, and it will cheat, right? Humans cheat, right? And if you can control a system that steals from other people a little bit, you will. So that system will continue on that, and it'll break again. In other words, even if you resolve the current balance sheet issue, because Bitcoin went up so much in that, and it looked like your balance sheet was better in that state, it will break again because the natural state of the free market is deflation. And we should have exponential deflation because productivity is moving exponentially. So that system will break again, even if Bitcoin measured in that system goes to $2 or $3 million or whatever, and then it trades sideways for a long time, and then it breaks again. That system will break again because it's not the natural state of the world, and we've always trusted that. It's actually why we've always gone to war to reset the currency, to blame those other people. And after the war, we set up institutions that shall never forget, and we memorialize all those people, and then we start the process over again. And that is actually the process, that centralizing process that leads it into more centralization and more breaking and more manipulation of markets and misallocation of capital, is the same reason we then divide society and then go to war to reset it. It's always been out of money. You need to debase all your currencies. You need to, because the natural state, productivity should be flowing to you. So why this is so hard to see is we hold on to one part of, so when there's been a big change, often we can't see the second and third order derivatives of the big change. We hold on to our mental view. Even if we understand the change at one level, we hold on to the other view we had. And here's an example. What would happen? So then if the natural state of the free market is deflation, and we know it's deflation and productivity is more deflationary, what we do while we're doing this is, but what if we lose our job? How are we going to survive? Because all prices, we think about the prices being this price and going up, even if we get this, which they won't be these prices. Prices will fall everywhere. And so as you lose your job, or if you lose your job, you don't need the same job to be able to survive because prices kept falling. That would be the natural state. And there will be constant attacks on what I just said. Mm-hmm. And the only thing you need to know is does Bitcoin stay decentralized and secure?
Jeff Booth criticizes the current inflationary monetary system, calling it a cycle of centralization, inequality, and inevitable failure. He views Bitcoin as a decentralized solution that taps into the deflationary power of free markets. Rather than focusing on Bitcoin's value in traditional money, Booth emphasizes its decentralization and security as keys to building a fairer, more innovative economy. Bitcoin promotes lower costs, higher purchasing power, and global financial fairness, offering opportunities for economic progress and value creation. Now let's hear more from Jeff Booth.
Bitcoin itself isn't deflationary. Now, it could be if people lost coins, it could be deflationary. But Bitcoin is a neutral currency, which allows the free market to work, and the free market is deflationary.
Okay.
Right? And why is the free market deflationary? Because we compete with others to provide more value than what was there before. And if you do not provide more value, you fail because no one uses your thing. Right? Or product or service. So in other words, you come out and you create a podcast, right? And if your podcast doesn't provide more value, nobody watches it, right? So you're competing with everyone else creating podcasts to create more value for people. If you don't, you fail. And the output of that, and how the podcast's done today, now we're in person right now, and we're in person because we're in Meditating together. But you can do a podcast now anywhere in the world.
Yep.
And where you used to always have to travel, and the production cost and the cost, it was an extraordinary cost to find people. Now you can do it with a fraction of the cost, and that fraction of the cost is going to come down a lot more with artificial intelligence and the like. So you're competing with new tools that are invented by our minds, right? And other people trying to create value in the free market that are constantly competing. And the output of us using the thing that gives us more value as prices fall. So how could what I just described, where do you get anywhere how prices could rise in that system? Inflation shouldn't be measured from zero. It should be measured from the productivity rate of the world, which would probably be -5 today, and then maybe -7 next year, maybe -15 the next year, right? As more and more people tried to compete to provide value to you, and you use the things that give more value, and the output of that is prices fall for everybody. That's the world you should live in. So it's almost why it's so hard for people to understand this. There can't be a monopoly for long in a free market. It's impossible, because the monopoly increases the price increase, the margin increase from the monopoly has everyone attacking that monopoly with a whole bunch of new creative ideas to be able to why? Because there's so much margin to gain there, right?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs don't create the next calculator app anymore. They try to create where there's more value. And so it's just a natural place. So the monopolies exist today, and why the monopolies look like they do, and they're getting richer and richer and richer relative to you and extracting more and more because they live on top of an extractive system. And it would of course look like that. And essentially they are the opposite side of the productivity that's supposed to flow to you getting extracted from you. That's what the monopolies look like today. And how do you compete against those monopolies inside that system? How could you create the next Google? You can't, because they're so all powerful, and all of the people using the service is making them more powerful, making more AI inside a system that's extracting everything from those people. That's all social media on the centralized platform looks, and everybody contributing to it is actually getting worse inside that system. Well, they're all trying to get more money in it, right? And they're driving it, getting it worse. And so you can feel around the world what I'm saying. How do you create? It wouldn't be a monopoly, but if you measured in Bitcoin the gain that what you're making instead of in fiat, what you're making is going to go up. Is going to go up in purchasing power forever. So the sats I give today every day on Nostr, which will buy coffees today, will buy cars in the future. Right? That's what it will look like.
Yeah.
And so if you're contributing your time today, and you're patient in that time, and you're tuned out of this other world, you're going to be extraordinarily benefited from creating value for other people in an area that accrues more value to you because you created more value. If you measure Bitcoin and energy in Bitcoin, you can already see energy prices falling. If you measure any raw materials in Bitcoin, you can see raw materials falling. So the inputs to the things that we're talking about are also falling. So Bitcoin, it's not maybe. Bitcoin is the first truly global free market we've ever experienced. And it's just going to expand, and free markets are more productive, far more productive than controlled markets. So if you're in Bitcoin for any 4-year cycle, you know that all prices fall, right? Mm-hmm. Your representation of what you think is happening might be, because you're still living in Bitcoin in the other system, you might think it's rising faster than your other prices, right?
Yeah.
And if you didn't have Bitcoin, you're getting destroyed by the same system. You're losing money, right? So let's say so that means there's a whole bunch of people with varying different degrees of understanding, and all are correct to their view, right? But Bitcoin doesn't care about any of the views, right? It's just a decentralized secure protocol bounded by energy, and it's imposing new rules that you don't have to play by the rules if you don't want.
Jeff Booth argues that Bitcoin addresses the flaws of today's inflationary financial system, which he views as a hidden tax that strips away the benefits of economic progress. He believes a free market, driven by competition and innovation, would naturally lower prices and improve life for everyone. If you want to stay updated on crypto and Bitcoin, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you on next video.